want to recap the meeting?
Sure. Well, you know, winter area, they had some concerns because the ambulance, you know, they haven't been able to fill crews now probably for 2 years. There was, before me, the ambulance was pulled out of there, and I brought the ambulance back. So they had some concerns. The ambulance has been there.
Excuse me, Eric. I apologize for interrupting, but you just hit a very important nail on the head. Unable to fill the crews.
Yep.
These are county employees. You can tell them where and what times they will serve.
Well, unfortunately, no, because Radisson and Hayward are the paid-on-call crews. Winter, Stone Lake, and Round Lake are the true volunteers. They're bonus on call. Okay?
What's the matter with putting a paid on call in winter?
Well, you know, right when we started this, I said that would be, you know, ultimate in my world if we could put paid on call at every station. The problem is, it's $333,000 per station.
Okay, but you still have some authority over your quote true volunteers. You can either tell them you will go where you are needed, or you won't be able to volunteer at all.
Well,
And if you're not going to be any worse off if you lose a few people than what you are right now.
okay.
I mean, I'm not advocating we lose anybody.
Let's just put
but we gotta
things.
do this in
Yeah,
this-
let's put things in perspective. You're living in winter. You're an EMT. You do not have to answer that page. I cannot tell somebody in Hayward, go sit in winter and get $1 an hour.
Yep.
Bill and I have been talking about this here. Can I speak, Bill?
Sure, you go right ahead.
Okay,
Because I'm gonna talk too.
okay. Like, and I'm just throwing this out, I don't know the answer, but is there some, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling bad here. Could we have, whether they be an EMT or a paramedic, volunteer for 4 days and get the higher pay, if I may, working out of one of the 2 hubs or whatever?
Yeah.
And then, and let them, if they get 4 days at the high pay, they have to go 1 day to the low pay?
Right, okay, so.
Is there a,
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know, and that might
Yep.
not be the answer, but something
Yep.
like
We've talked about
that.
that before.
Yeah,
It's
we
a big
did it,
part of the
actually.
answer.
We did it. And Winter still couldn't get a crew. We start, when it all started out,
Where's
we,
that person in winter?
okay,
Where's he working then? He or
they,
she?
they would go, mostly it was
Why-
Jackie, and she would go to the winter station when this all started. We started with 1 day, Radisson was paid on call, the next day, Winter was paid on call. What happened is Winter still couldn't get a crew. And the Radisson, there'd be 1 on call in Radisson and 1 on call in Winter. So they'd take 2 ambulances to the scene and jump in 1 ambulance and leave the other. It just wasn't working.
Well, that's not what Jim is proposing, though. What Jim is talking about, and my question is, right now, the person in winter who is not responding to winter calls, where is that person working? Let's say they're on the job today. Where is that person at today?
In Winter,
Radisson, right?
in Radisson.
Okay? And because they're paid to be on
Correct.
Madison.
Yep.
Okay. But Jim, and I think he was talking for Bill too, but correct me, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, is suggesting what we've talked about many, many times in the past. If you want the cherry positions, the cherry stations, the cherry hours, the on-call pay, you gotta take some that ain't so cherry.
Well, you know, I've done that, and the paid on call is in Radisson today. We're talking about moving the paid on call, okay? Say we move the paid on call to Winter, okay? And I tell the EMTs, the true volunteer EMTs, you have to go to winter. So, they have to be at the station. The accommodations, for one, we'd have to improve. And,
We don't want to talk about the accommodation, right?
well, I'm just saying if we tried
We want
this.
to get people.
Yeah, if we tried this. Well, getting people,
We can have them work out of that winter fire station. I know that'll work.
well, there's definitely some improvements. I mean, anything can work, no doubt about it.
We need some
Nothing's-
improvement, I realize.
Nothing's going to work toward a final, good, best
You know-
practices solution until we get people where we need them.
Yep, and okay, this
You
is,
said you've tried this in the past.
We
the
have.
cherry and the not so cherry
2
positions.
years ago, right?
right,
What-
2 years
what-
We haven't
ago.
tried it anymore.
Oh, you know
since.
what? But, okay, this is another thing we need to look at. We're gonna move a paid on-call crew away from the majority of the calls.
No,
Well, that's a valid point.
That's the
Okay.
truth.
Jim, go ahead.
okay. I am truly troubled over what is going on. Are we having trouble getting people to respond to an emergency ambulance call in Stone Lake?
No.
Or in Round Lake?
No.
Why is winter so different? I truly bleed for the people in winter without an ambulance service. I know we can't take the hub and move it there because it's too far out of the hub of the activities. But why are the EMTs and paramedics who have in the past, years back, helped staff the winter ambulance?
You know.
Are they just strictly chasing
I,
the buck?
you know, I
Yes.
guess,
Well, I don't know
you're
that. How
right,
come the
you're
other
right.
guys aren't? How come
You know,
we have no problem staffing?
That's a loaded question.
Yes, it is, and I apologize, but I don't
Because-
get it. I do not understand.
You know, we all know how Sawyer County is, right? It's huge. Winter ambulance has the hugest area.
Least amount of people.
Correct. 3 of our paramedic and 2 EMTs have the biggest paychecks consistently in Sawyer County Ambulance. They all 3 live in winter. They don't run there. They go to Radisson and they go to Hayward. The ones that are making the most money live in winter. They won't even go on the calls because this is reality. From 2005 to 2 months ago, I ran statistics. It took 12 to 15 minutes from initial page out to when the winter crew turned on the ambulance. Okay? Radisson today, when they hear the winter call, they're en route. It only takes 10 minutes to get to winter.
But
Do
not if you take that home over there and revamp it. They're gonna have to go from that house over to the
Well,
school to
you
pick
know,
up their
that was
ambulance.
that was
No.
temporary. That was temporary.
No?
No, you know, Radisson is the, I'm speaking strictly Jim talking here, but to me, the obvious place for that hub is in Radisson, and we've got a house that we can.
Can we stick to the staffing issue, because you just
Okay.
touched on something
I
that
did.
I need to say
I-
something about.
I did.
Because you say the top 3 highest paid
Yep.
paramedics live in the winter area.
Yep.
Why do you continue to give them these cherry places to work and keep other
Because
paramedics from going
I
there?
cannot say geographically where you live and segregate them away.
I'm not trying to tell you that you have to quit,
I don't know I'm trying to explain. I don't understand what you're saying.
where they live makes no difference where they work. That's not even an issue, okay? You can live in Timbuktu as long as you're within so many minutes of getting to the bus park. My point is, you've got 3 of the highest paid people by your own statement just
Yep,
here earlier.
yep.
How many hours are these people getting Are there other paramedics that could take some of those hours? And if you tell everybody, not just these three, but you tell everybody, you want the plum places, you gotta sign up for some of the not so plum places. That becomes a policy of the ambulance department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Divide up the workload more.
Okay.
I like it. I don't know how to do it, but I like it.
It's easy enough.
But what about Round Lake and Stone Lake? We have to do the same for them, right?
Why? You haven't got any
What do you
problems
mean you
here.
have to do?
We don't have any problems, so now maybe they should have problems and then they'll get more money? We're opening up a huge can of worms.
You know, you look at it,
Because you're doing a good job
I
and you're
think
going
there's
on the
one-
calls, we're gonna pay you less.
It appears to me there's one
You're
common
right.
denominator.
And
I don't have to say what it is.
What,
Jim.
sorry.
well,
I don't see where what Gail has been leading toward would interfere, because Stone Lake and Round Lake, you don't have a problem?
nope.
All you're saying is the people that get the high, I don't know how to put it delicately.
I
They
can't
chase-
either because
They
it's,
chase the dollar.
yes,
Let's
it's a
put it that
loaded
way.
question.
Yes,
It's a tough
but all
one.
you're saying is those people, after, let us say they work 4 days a week for the high buck, they have to do 1 day for the low buck area. And if you don't have any problems in Stone Lake and Round Lake now, it's not gonna create a problem in either of those places. And it'll maybe get some people to watch over the winter area.
You know,
If you-
it is about the money, okay?
Yeah,
And we are a volunteer service, and they're being paid like employees, okay? We have limited control about where I can tell you to go, because they have the right to sign up or not. Now, we have, to make a decision. If we're going to tell people this is what you're going to do and not give them an option, they are an employee, and we need to lead it as an employee. We have volunteers. You cannot, just like today, if I told them you have to do this, reality is they don't.
but you sat here and listened to, I believe it was Mindy Dale.
Yes.
That said, and I'm not sure the exact words, but
They're still
basically,
county employees.
she
They're-
said they were county.
They're, the word is
Quasi.
at will. They are at will employees.
So is every other employee in Sawyer County.
But no,
They have
Dale,
insurance.
go ahead.
Yeah, back to Round Lake and Stone Lake, if people in Round Lake, is Round Lake considered a cherry position?
No.
Or is it considered?
they're a bonus on call. When they are on call, they get a
So
buck an hour.
This, what I'm proposing, suggesting here, is that this could help those people because they could nab some of those hours in those cherry stations, and other people from
Well-
winter may end up serving in Round Lake. Same thing with Stone Lake. And Eric, respectfully,
Yeah.
I mean no disrespect to you, but I want you to quit thinking like a paramedic and start thinking like a director.
Okay. Well then, the people in Round Lake, they go to Radisson, okay? There are a few, because they're getting $6 an hour on call, and they get $25 an hour when they go on a run. So you're telling me to tell somebody in Round Lake to go to Winter and get a buck an hour because they're a bonus on call. Does not work that way.
It can, but it will work that way if it's an ambulance-wide policy. And that's what we have to do. We have to set policies that all of our employees follow. And if the policy is, if you wish to be an employee, quasi-employed, at-will employee, whatever you want to call it, employee of the Sawyer County Ambulance Department, you will adhere to this policy. which means you can't just grab all the cherry positions and money-making positions for yourself and let somebody else do the grunt work. You will
You
have
know,
to spread yourself out around the
I'm
county.
telling you straight up. We are already just managing with personnel, okay? Dale, you know, by trying to force people to do things, you know, you can't do it when they're not employees. They're at-will employees.
And if we lose somebody because of this proposed policy, then they weren't the right people in those positions in the first place.
Okay.
And how many people, how many people have resigned from the ambulance department in the last year, the last 2 years? It's several.
Maybe.
You brought them right
Maybe two.
into county board. We're hiring them hand over fist.
Okay, we're
You
hiring
brought 8 or
them.
10 of them in there.
Yep.
They're not
And,
leaving us.
you know, it's,
They're under our insurance. They're working for
they're
us.
with, the
We have a
Affordable
right
Care
to tell
Act.
them.
They're Affordable Care Act. Not all of them have it. But by having, okay, paid on call is in Hayward, right? Okay. So, and paid on call is in Radisson. The only way we're going to get a person from Round Lake, and more than likely they're not even going to come because they want to run in Round Lake and stay at their house because they're out mowing their lawns, they're out in their houses, and when they get a page, they go. Okay? They're going to say, I'm not going to go there.
And we're suggesting that 80% of the time, they can do that. But the 20% of the time, we want them in another place, and they're gonna have to live with that if that's what we adapt as a policy.
Okay.
My question for you is, if we adapt this as a policy, you will support it?
Well, we're going to put it all on paper and get it all organized, and we'll look at it. But we have to have uniformity to all the stations, right?
Yes.
And if we tell someone, you are engaged and you have to go there, correct?
We're gonna tell everybody, you get to spend 80%
Okay.
and 20%,
The-
whatever the percentages
Okay.
work out to be.
Two things.
Maybe 75 and 25, whatever.
Engaged, waiting to engage. Engage. Waiting to engage, we pay them volunteer. Engaged, we pay them a wage.
I'm aware of
That's
that.
what we got in trouble with before, okay?
I'm aware of that. And that's not going to change. But they're going to get to do a large percentage of the time where they are being paid to sit at the station, and they're going to spend a small percentage of their time at a station where they're not being paid to sit there.
Okay.
If they don't want to do that, then they don't have to work for Sawyer County Ambulance.
Jim, did you have a question or comment?
And this is just a question, and I don't want you to do it. This would take committee action, but I have to ask this question. How long would it take you to figure out if we have enough people available that we could go full-time?
You know, I've preached to the choir. That's the direction we're going. We need to do it. It'll solve all our problems. Everything we're talking about right now it's not productive. This is not
You know,
productive.
Compared to going full-time?
Yes, it's crazy.
But we have to tip the stones over as we come to them, too. And maybe this is a couple of stones down the path from where we are right now. But the bottom line is if these were true employees, you could do all of everything we ask.
You betcha.
So how, just out of a rough idea, Eric, how long would it take you to figure out if we have enough people to staff a full-time system?
I've done.
What would the payroll be? How would you run the staffing? How would you pick the people to go where, whatever?
Yep.
And all of these things that would go with full-time, how long would it take?
I've done 3 different proposals. I've given them to Tom. We've sat down and done breakdowns. We're looking at the numbers. We're looking at our transfers and going, you know, as we're operating now and going full-time, it's almost apples for apples. And that's, that is what we need to do.
Okay.
Because right now,
A month from now, providing Tom is available to get to this meeting, the public safety meeting in September. Thank you, Brenda. In September, could you and he come in and tell us how it works?
no problem.
Give us cost.
Another proposal?
No problem.
Give us cost factoring, et cetera, and give us what we would need to go before the county board.
Because then, I can run it instead of 99%, 100% as the director. Because I have true employees. Okay? When you run it as a volunteer service,
Yeah, I understand.
you're kissing hind end for these people because you need them. Okay? That's it. Could you run a sheriff's department with a bunch of volunteers and expect them to be there?
We actually did that with the city police department.
And how did it work?
Worked fine.
Yeah?
May I continue on?
Go ahead.
No, but you, and Eric, and just to make sure everyone understands something, that's a completely different thing than what you're talking about.
Totally, but I'm just saying as a management point of view.
That's
It's,
completely different than the shoe you're trying to fill. So that for me to answer that, yes, it's an unfair comparison because you're trying to do something completely different than what we had.
true, but as a management point, having employees is, it's the way to go.
Jim?
Hal, Mr. Chairman, you heard what I've been saying here. Am I getting out of bounds?
No, I don't think so. I think you're on the right track.
No.
But my issue for asking the chair to move this up was strictly, political. I was getting too many comments late yesterday afternoon about this meeting being an official meeting. There was absolutely nothing official about that meeting last night. Where it all came from, I don't know, and I don't really care, because it apparently didn't turn out to be an official meeting. It was not an official board meeting. You all know when board meetings are official. This was not official. But you are, to answer your question, is yes, you are on the right track, as far as I'm concerned.
Jim?
I move we have Drake Nielsen and Tom Huff get everything together that they need to talk to us at the next public safety meeting about establishing a full-time staffed ambulance service in Sawyer County. Did I say that right?
I think it's close enough. Yeah.
The only thing I would suggest is that looking again officially at the agenda, it does include options for ambulance service department facilities in southern Sawyer County. If that's what you're looking at, you better stay with that.
One of the things I'm extremely disappointed, our subcommittee looking at sites. Did its job, committee supported them, county board turned it down.
Yeah, we worked for months at that.
Yeah.
And each time we would come here at the month, we were told, well, we have to table it. We have to table it.
Yeah.
That gentleman over there told that group of 60, 80 people that we weren't doing anything last night. You didn't do anything to come to bat for us last night, Warren. Nothing.
We had a listening session, and that committee was not...
Well, what the hell are all them people looking at me for?
I didn't know they were looking at you. Maybe-
After you said what you did,
Well, that committee
accusing us of not doing anything.
was in existence for a long time and came here without getting the facts on what they were looking at.
Warren has been a troublemaker since.
We tried. We tried, Warren. We
You're
tried.
not going to get anywhere with that kind of...
Warren, we tried.
But the point...
We had our head up against the wall.
But I raise the point, Bill, I think in your favor here. Make sure that if this is what you're after, make sure it does relate to the agenda. The you're talking,
Mhm.
you're trying to resolve southern Sawyer County. Either that and go make another one and resolve the whole county.
Okay.
Well, that's probably
You
more
know,
your information.
I was asked,
I'm sorry, Warren, but you didn't do anything to help our situation out last night.
There was nothing I could do to help you. That was
When would that
past.
happen?
Chris,
I'm a little confused in getting the motion on paper here.
That's,
Wait, we haven't had a
I don't,
second.
right, but I
I would
don't think
second.
your motion was to just have full-time people in the winter, that it's countywide.
I'm talking about a countywide,
policy.
yeah, and we actually go through the hiring process, hire EMTs, paramedics, and the scheduling be taken over by the ambulance director, not the, where they sign up on the internet thingy, yeah, okay. I don't know, am I making sense, Chris?
Yeah, I just had to clarify it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
okay,
Yeah, I won't support that primarily because Tom's not here and we don't know what steps he's taking. We don't know where he is in this process. And if we try and pass something and tell him specifically something to do, and it's not in his process.
You'd have one better do it.
No, one, he can tell us to take a hike because that's not within our purview. It's not one of the three things that we are allowed to do as a county board. And two, it would be interruptive to the process, possibly, could be very interruptive to the process that he already has in place. I would prefer to hear what he thinks about this first before we jump the gun.
Then we should have a special meeting.
He's had a
Mr.
special training session with most of Chris's staff.
And we should have a special meeting.
Special meeting to hear what Tom would have to say about this, because I don't want to drag it out.
Well, we've been,
It's been dragged out, dragged out.
Can we get this on the
well,
administrative committee meetings agenda?
That's fine.
That's this week.
and
In the
the
meantime-
reason,
we can put it on there.
and the reason for putting it there is specifically to ask Tom if it's okay to,
Be a
Proceed
report,
this action.
a report from the administrator.
Report from Tom about where he's at in the ambulance process. And then we can discuss options for him.
And the administrative committee meets Thursday,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
who here is on that committee other than
You
me?
can still get that on there.
Oh, hell.
Chris.
Neil,
Yeah, I don't want to be the only person speaking up for it on
I think there's three off this committee.
You want to administer?
No, but I can be there if you want me.
well, step in the right direction.
Chris, do I need to amend my motion to say that we pass it on to,
Why don't we just amend it to that?
Well, it's just withdraw it.
To refer it to the administration committee.
Does that meet with your
Okay.
approval, Neil?
Don't make my approval, I'm just telling you how I'm going to vote.
You were the second.
I was, correct.
If we're going to get this on the administrative committee's agenda, we don't need a motion to do that, do we?
It can be referred there, but I think it automatically,
So then.
it's a dollar and cent issue, so it'll go there.
Okay, so if it's going to be there, we don't even need a motion.
I'm not sure about that.
yeah, I'm not sure either because what,
Well, let's put the motion through. All in favor?
And that's to refer that to the administration.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You've done it. Thank you.
So,
Now, let's
the site,
what's that?
the site.
let's come back to the site,
Yeah.
okay?
All right.
We came up with a recommendation.
Right, and then it
was
came
struck
back
down.
because we still have the problem with the school. That
What's the problem with the school?
it's just, it's not up to code as a dwelling.
Oh, I realize that.
So
But the
we're on borrowed
recommendation
time.
was a virtual facility in the Ojibwa.
Right, but temporarily, because I was told that I'm supposed to get them out of there. I need something temporary. Remember, I was going to, let's get a rental. You had the ideas of temporarily that house getting fixed up, which fell apart. Temporarily. That is what we need to figure out.
Yeah.
Who gave you all these directions?
Well, it was for one, at the winter board meeting, they told me, when we were in winter, to get them out of there.
Get them out of the winter.
Out of the Radisson School. And that's where I had the rentals figured out. And I was told to give the board some options. I put down 5 different options and gave it to the board, and they said, take it back to the committee, we only want one. That's where we're at.
No, the board said that they wanted more time to study those options and then make a decision, rather than make a decision on information that was just presented to them that night.
Yeah, it was sent back to the committee.
I thought they said give us one.
I think they were looking for details, and we're not ready for details at this juncture. Just come up with a site and analysis.
Or do we?
I'm confused.
Are we waiting another month and just staying in the school then?
I don't know. I'd say it's up to the full county board.
But they sent it back to us.
But what do they expect us to do?
Well, they expect us, I think, to come up with a single site
Yeah, but the
We did.
and a plan.
That's what I gathered.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But nobody likes Ojibwa. I don't. I think the only
Well,
place.
I know you don't. But the rest of the committee did, and the subcommittee did.
But my thinking would be if you have a special meeting, if the administrative meeting addresses this on Thursday, a decision is made at that time, a recommendation will be made to the board then, and it will be handled the following Thursday night, up or down. That's your timeline.
You're saying that the administrative committee will pick the site then?
Correct.
Well,
Well,
you want to get it someplace, you want to get something done, you're
Otherwise, we're
saying
gonna-
let's get it on the administrative committee, that's the place to go.
We'll be sitting here twiddling
And
our
that,
thumbs
of
a year
course, is,
from now.
actually, that is the technical committee to deal with it because it is dollars and cents. I suspect you're going to have dollars and cents. Hello.
Yeah.
I think we're confused. We've got 2 separate issues here. I think we're getting them confused. One, the subcommittee was told to choose a site for a new ambulance barn in southeastern Sawyer County.
Correct.
We were told specifically not to look at dollars and cents at that time, just pick an appropriate site.
Correct.
We made the recommendation of this committee made the recommendation of the full county board, and they did not agree with that.
The county board was looking for dollars and cents and all the details.
Right.
And we're not ready
So
for that.
that's the issue of where a new bus barn would be built or renovated or whatever. The issue we're dealing with here today is how do we get our people out of the Radisson School building because of mold issues, because of wiring issues, blah, 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 and into a safe environment as soon as possible. That's a totally separate issue. And if that means temporarily housing them in the winter fire station, that's probably a good option. It's at least an option, okay? Other options, like what you presented, the 5, that was just getting people out of the...
Right, temporary.
It had nothing to do with where the final bus barn is going to be located.
Yeah.
You know, if we would have started construction
Just different.
2 months ago, we'd be done.
But I think you're right, that they are 2 separate issues, and you're starting all over again Thursday night,
Yes.
or Thursday rather, when the committee meets, with whatever recommendation comes out of there negates the old recommendation
Which
has
shut
already
down.
been negated by
Yeah.
the board.
So we're starting over with both issues.
Right, okay,
Yes.
sounds good to me.
let's move on. We beat this horse to death.
I think that we should be at the executive meeting. Also.
Anybody
I-
wants
Or
to?
tied up.
Everybody that's interested should be there.
I'm tied up, Bill.
I'll be there.
Good. Okay.
Well, I got more questions for here.
Go ahead.
How is the discussion with the 3 townships that were given free ambulance service in Washburn?
Tonight, I'm in the town of Bass Lake meeting with them. I'm on the agenda. I
Bass
met
Lake
with-
and Washburn?
Yep.
Okay,
And I went to the town of Stinnett
yep.
and talked with them last month. Luckily, all their meetings are on the same time. So I talked with Stinnett and told them my concerns. And they tabled it so that they could bring it to Washburn's County Board to try to figure out and talk with the other borderline townships and maybe work together at figuring out a problem.
Go ahead.
Brian Takala is a friend of mine. He knows I want to go to Sawyer County Board. He approached me and wondering why Sawyer County would even dare to ask the town of Stinnett for money. After some lively conversation, I finally convinced him that he said we should be going to Washburn County. I finally convinced him that Washburn County does not provide ambulance service to its own citizens. A private company comes in and does that. And why should Sawyer County taxpayers provide the town of Stinnett with free ambulance service?
Right.
Finally convinced him of that, and I think you might find a better reception next time.
You know, it was a good reception. I mean, I just told them our concerns and that this is the direction we're looking into. I said the fat's in the fire. Let's start working together how we can work together as neighboring communities because we're not going to cut the umbilical cord on you. We're just not going to say all of a sudden, bam, we're going to gracefully figure this out and whatever we come up with, if it's, you know, a charge per head, if it's a charge per whatever their land value or tax way that we can do it that's fair and to work with them. And I said, you know, there's probably, you know, some grants and you can build your first response base. But, you know, and on the other hand, you know, we put it in ink, then we're responsible. And that's a price to think about.
Responsible for
Going there.
taking no dollars.
No, we're responsible to go and service that area then.
Have we ever turned down service?
Not in, no,
Yeah.
not that I can really, I mean,
We're already doing it.
yeah,
No.
so, but legally, we don't have to. Now we do it, we will legally have to. So, but,
Go ahead.
Carrie, once they hear the story, Stone Lake alone, the village of Stone Lake alone, when they hear the story and start figuring the numbers out, they will be all over you with glory. They will really feel good.
yeah, and it.
They're
yeah.
worried about money. I've been to them. They're a great board. They're good people, easy to work with and stuff like that.
For doing what?
When it comes to dollars and cents, they listen to dollars and cents.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we can make it work. And even looking deeper into it, it's not like Stone Lake. It's a little farther down is the town of Crystal. We go there too. I mean, Stanberry and sometimes even pushing into Springbrook. We've
That-
gone
that to
there
me
too,
is-
so.
That to me is easy. I wouldn't mind arguing about that just like.
Yeah.
And I think the village board of Birchwood has a formula that they use across the county line into Edgewater.
Right.
I think it's only right that we use the same formula back
Yep.
across the border.
Yep, Tom.
That's my
you know,
opinion only, but
Tom and myself both got copies of that.
Yep.
And we are looking at it, how it's broke down and a land value.
Tom Huff.
Right. And we are looking at, before I'm dealing with this, which way we want to go with this. either by the land value, per head, history of call volume.
Chris?
It's interesting that the legislature must think more of books than safety. There's a reimbursement for, if I go to the Birchwood Library, the Birchwood Library can send a bill to Sawyer County and we have to pay it, yet when we send an ambulance over there, we don't have to pay
No way.
anything. There's something wrong with
Crazy?
that.
There's something wrong.
Yeah.
We pay $135,000 to neighboring counties because our citizens use their library. And I think they pay us 80 or 90 to our libraries for other towns using our.
Well,
It's strange.
Are we getting off on a tangent
I
here?
think we've, come to the conclusion that, we need to aggressively look into full-time. And what we've been doing, we've been just beating around the bush, trying to figure out all these other solutions, and in the back of our heads, we all know what we need to do. Okay? And we're all trying to figure out these ways to make this huge county and this puzzle work. With limited resources, limited funds.
But we have
and
one overriding problem. It's a facility in southern Sawyer County.
There is, and we're that's another issue. And and if we go full time, get Tom here, but we've been bounced passing a lot of different ideas. Do we even need a facility in the south if we go full time?
Do we? I don't know.
We don't. Because if you have 12-hour or 8-hour shifts, take your ambulance, drive it to the south, post in the south, and then when your shift's done, the other one's coming and they go like this.
Quick question. Post in the south, you said, what does that mean? Take the ambulance home?
No, you're getting paid. You're in the
Or
ambulance.
you're gonna park someplace?
Just like, for example,
I just need a
Yeah.
clarification on that.
yeah, posting is,
Posting.
the most calls should come to this area. Fine, go on the corner of 2770, or go to Helsing's Road, or, when that one goes out, then another one, that's how it works.
So you just sit there waiting for a call?
That's right, you're getting paid a wage, and you are engaged. I mean, it's a game changer on a lot of different things.
That would probably be more economical than putting up a new facility.
It's,
Save us quite a bit of money.
it's
It's
not to say in the future that we wouldn't put up a facility there. I think the southern half of Sawyer County deserves it, and that they need a nice professional building, and increase for jobs. We're making jobs for EMTs and paramedics there. It's not that it wouldn't happen in the future, but we could work towards it. It's a game changer, and we've been dancing around this for probably 5 years.
But Eric, you and I know this current county board that we have, and that they're not gonna go for spending $250,000 to put up a building. They're just not gonna do it, I know that.
No, but however, are they going to continually, we're going to be having meetings? Because Winter had a meeting. What's going to be next
Where are
month?
we off, Gwen? You're-
Radisson.
We should turn this whole goddamn thing over to the county board. They're the ones that...
Already done that.
We've already done that, and they shipped it back to
Chris.
the committees.
I think dancing around it's the right way. The previous two ambulance administrators, I think, felt the same way. You could only solve this by going to full-time. You can see the volatility in the ambulance service. I think it relates to trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, make a volunteer system work where you really, it's become too professional for that.
Yeah,
Nationwide, we're
not
the
done.
last Mohicans.
Yeah, we are.
It's Jim.
Is it, okay, a paramedic that's assigned to the chase vehicle to go home with the chase vehicle and sleep?
Today it is.
Okay.
Today it is.
I thought it was, but I've been getting way too many phone calls on this ambulance thing, so.
Let's
Thank you.
move forward.
For the whole issue, you're
Administrative committee. Okay. Judge and clerk of courts report. I don't see anybody.
Nada.